Hi, thanks for checking out today's video. Today's video is going to be a quick demonstration on how to use the openSuSe.com website. I discovered this website while listening to the Linux Action Show podcast done by Jupiter Broadcasting. If you're looking for a great Linux podcast, swing by their site or check them out on iTunes. Their podcast is a free download. That's the Linux Action Show. That's a really good and informative podcast. On with the review here. If you log on to openSuSe.com, you will be brought to a landing page much like this one. You'll have a button here where you can watch a screencast, which gives a quick overview of the site and what its main purpose is. The main purpose behind this website is to basically allow anybody to log on and create their own Linux distribution based off of openSuSe. This is an invite-only service at this time. But however, the invites are free, so we'll come up and click on Create Account or Sign In. If you already have your invite, you can click on any of these login buttons and use those credentials to log into the site. To get your invitation, come down here, put your email address in that blank, and hit Request Invitation. My invitation came about an hour and a half to 2 hours after I submitted it. It came really quick, and then within just a matter of seconds, I was able to log in and make my first Linux distro. So, I'm going to go ahead and log in here. I'll be back as soon as I log in. Okay, I'm logged in, and this is the first page that I'm brought to, mostly because I haven't created a virtual machine yet. I created a few and I went ahead and wiped them out to start from scratch for this video. So you'll notice you have several options when you first log on. You have several patterns or base machines that you can set up. I'm going to set up a KDE4 desktop just for kicks. I'm not partial between KDE or GNOME. I like them both. So just for kicks, we'll create a KDE4 desktop. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'll leave it at 32-bit. I'm going to rename this OS as Screencast OS. Then we're going to create the appliance, and it'll take just a second to create that. All of this is done using their servers. None of this has to be downloaded onto your machine. Even the final ISO you can test without having to download it. They give every user 15 gigabytes of storage space on their servers. As you create your system, you're going to notice over here it'll tell you how much used space is on the server and how big of a download size that system is going to be when you get it done. You can also get broken down information as to how many packages is in that system, how many you've selected, and how many base patterns you've also selected. This gives you a quick little snapshot of what the load screen will look like. We're going to click the Software tab. Now, just for kicks, we're going to come here and just throw in a couple pieces of basic software. For time's sake, I'm not going to throw a lot of software in here, but just enough to get the idea. Let's add some multimedia stuff. Let's add Amarok in there. I'm also going to put OpenOffice Writer in there, just for kicks. That way we have a little something we can try out once we create the ISO. You can see it's adding the packages. Once that gets added, we can simply click on the next tab up here at the top of the screen, and we have some other options that we can set through. This is where we can set up our configurations. I'm going to set my time zone. I'm going to leave my keyboard and language layout as US. I'm not going to mess with any of the firewall settings or the network settings. For this demonstration, it doesn't really matter. I am going to change this. This is where you can specify a default users and user groups. I'm just going to create one called guest. And I'm going to also have guest as the password. I'm going to set that up as a guest user group. And this is where you can change your loading icons. You can also upload your own. If you have your own graphics that you'd like to stick in there, you can. The background you can do the same with. So it's pretty customizable. You can also add your own backgrounds in there. Or you can go with just a plain black and white default. I like blue. I'm going with blue, and I like my pink one. And startup, you can pick what startup you want to run in. You can also create your own end user license agreement. We're not creating a server, so I'm not going to worry with that. I'm going to go ahead and automatically log in our guest user. If you have a specific program you'd like to auto start, you can add that here. You can click over to your appliance, and this is just some behind the scenes settings, where you can also upload your own scripts. files, if you have any custom files you'd like to add in there, it'll add those in after it builds the system. Once you're done adding the software that you want to add, you can come over to the Build tab, and we're going to create a live CD ISO image. If you want, you can also select to pick one of these other settings to allow it to generate a VirtualBox machine and whatnot. You can change your version number. I'm just going to leave all that as default and click Build. You'll notice it says Starting Build up here in the corner. We're going to let that build. That usually takes anywhere between 5 to 6 minutes from my experience here the last few days playing with this. So I'll be back as soon as this gets done building. Okay, you'll notice down here we now have a live CD/DVD ISO file listed. It tells us what version we've compiled. If you mouse over it, you'll see a little pop-up that gives you some information about it. The uncompressed size for this ISO is 415 meg. It was built in 3 seconds, or it was built 3 seconds ago, and it took about 7 minutes and 4 seconds to build. You'll notice over here we have 3 options that weren't here previously. You can test drive it, which we'll come back to. You can download the ISO file, or you can view a list of files that are included in this ISO. Or if you're not happy with it, you can click the X and it will prompt you to delete. You can start over. We're going to run a test drive. You'll notice I'm using Google Chrome, so this launches up a new tab. We'll close that out. Here's a set of buttons. These buttons will simulate shortcuts, popular shortcuts that are done within the Linux system. Naturally, if you hit some of these, they're going to interfere with your Windows OS and not the Linux. So they created these cool little buttons. You'll notice our custom graphic and background, and a little stamp down here in the corner that says this system was built with SuSe Studio. You have your common options, your boot options, and just like other Linux distros have. You can also come up here and enable networking if you wanted to do that. For just testing purposes, we're not going to worry with that. Here's our custom graphic and background, and the little SuSe Studio stamp down in the corner. You notice the little loader bars coming up here. You can faintly see that. And it's going to load, and then it's going to take us to the main desktop loader. I do keep in mind that this is created with a KDE4 desktop. I more or less just did that to be different. You can also set up one with Ice Window Manager. GNOME, you can set up a server environment, which is a text-only server environment. And they also have a minimal version of openSuSe that you can create as well. Here we are, we're loading up the openSuSe KDE environment. You'll see the K up here in the corner. That denotes the KDE. You'll notice the trailing mouse. The one in the lead is my actual physical mouse. The one behind it is the virtual machine mouse. When you first boot this up, you're going to get a prompt here that's just got some information about the openSuSe project. You can also see an introduction to KDE4. We're going to close that out. We don't really need to see that overlay. 2 of the apps that I added to this ISO was Amarok audio player, which you can see is listed right there. And I put OpenOffice Writer. Amarok takes just a moment to load up through this connection, so I'll use the OpenOffice Writer to do it. You'll notice that this is running completely off of the web. I'm running this through the web browser. This is all loaded and compiled and streaming from their server. It essentially allows you to come in and test your Linux system before you commit to downloading it. Should you load it up into this test drive and not like what you see, you can simply go back and re-roll it. No big deal, as long as you can fit it under the 15 gig restrictions on your account for the service. No big ordeal. So here we can actually interact with the applications. I'm going to plug my blog. I know it's shameless, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. That's TechieSmart. TechieSmarts.blogspot.com. You can edit, you can file, save as, and of course since this is a live ISO, you're not going to be able to see persistent changes done to it, but you can get in here, you can test the system, you can navigate through it, and see whether or not this is in fact what you want. Like I said, I only added 2 custom packages other than the base system, so you have all your file settings and whatnot, and utilities and things that you normally would, but you don't have the extra add-ons. You can leave and you can shut her down, just like you normally would if it was a real virtual machine or booting the live CD. You'll notice it's a little slower. That tends to work off of the your internet connection, the slower connection, it'll be just a little slower. There we are, we're shutting down. That's a pretty cool feature. I don't know of any other sites that actually allow you to stream a virtual machine version of your Linux distro. I know you can do some pretty cool virtualization things through Windows using VirtualBox and QEMU, some other software packages like that that are free and open source. I don't know of any that actually allow you to stream it through your web browser. Once you are done, you can come over here and you can share it. You can upload it to the SUSE gallery. We can go back to our home, which after you create your first virtual machine, you will start building a list here of other machines that you've created. And it gives you some information, like this was edited 27 minutes ago. They have some other quick links here for featured appliances that were created by other users. They have some configuration information. You can go to the SUSE gallery, or you can follow them on Twitter. This gives you a running total of how much space you've used on your account for the service. You can come up and create a new appliance. It's a pretty simple site. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of tricks or anything here. Everything's pretty much cut and dry. But it is an awesome site. It allows you to run your own Linux distribution. Roll it out and try it. So, if you're interested, swing by SUSEstudio.com. It's SUSE studio.com, and sign up for an account. Check it out. For more videos, feel free to swing by techiesmarts.blogspot.com, and we'll have some more video reviews coming soon. Thank you.